Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to read into the current energies. It was 333 on the clock right as I was starting this reading, and it goes along with the energies that I'm feeling for right now, which is just 333 for me, at least. I think it is for other people as well. It's just like this, like you're on the right track, you're being guided, and just like forward movement. But what I'm feeling from this energy is like forward movement that has so much behind it that it can be really overwhelming. So that reminder of like you're guided, you're protected, you're exactly where you need to be, I think is really beautiful to come in right at the beginning of this reading because there's so much. What I'm feeling is that there's been such a shift in the fabric of reality, like where so much of the density is falling away within us, in the world, and of course that can look like a mess. It can look like a mess in the world. It can look like a mess in ourselves, like everything's falling apart. But it's like that like caterpillar soup, where it's like we're turning into liquid. We're turning into liquid as a natural movement towards the transformation that humanity and the earth is going towards. So on the one hand, it's like this sort of disintegration, falling apart, like, oh my gosh, you don't even know which end is up. Are you swimming up or are you swimming down? I don't know. But just this again, that surrender, like the whole world, if it's caterpillar soup, then it's like it's water, it's liquid, and liquid flows and liquid moves around and liquid is in the moment, and it just kind of like listens and moves with what is. It has no choice to, because it's water. It's water, it's liquid. It doesn't have a container, and that's what the energy feels to me like right now. But again, that reminder of that, like we're in exactly the right place, we're moving forward. It's all protected and guided. That's the 333, the 3 of Wands energy, the forward moving, the hawk energy. But yeah, it can be like what I'm feeling collectively from this energy is it can be a bit overwhelming. We're having so many solar flares. And what's interesting to me is, okay, so we had an X flare which registered as 3.4, but what I had heard, because of a bunch of other factors that I can't remember the facts of, but that it was more like the impact of an X7, which to my knowledge is the largest, at least. Well, it's large, okay. I think there was an X10 like a long time ago, but anyway, big energy. And then but that was like following a bunch of like mid-range M flares, and then right after that we had more mid-range M flares, and then we had a M9, which is almost an X flare. I mean, we've just been slammed, and a lot of them being long duration. So even the high C flares have been long duration. So it's just been like boom, boom, boom. What's interesting to me is I started having solar sensitivity about 2 years ago, and it hit me really, really hard, like fractalized vision, and it all came out out of nowhere. It started on February 13th, which is what today is, 2 years ago, and I didn't understand it at all. I didn't know what was going on. I kind of knew it was solar related, but it was hard for me to trust that intuition. I'd had dreams about it and synchronicity and stuff. I've actually had dreams about the solar energy my whole life, but when you're scared, it's hard to listen to that intuition. But because of my resistance and because of my fear, it took a really long time. But I did stabilize, and I was still having, upgrades, and I still had the solar sensitivity reflected through my body, through the different energy centers. Sometimes it was a lot of neck pain with the throat center. The big ones are the heart palpitations, and like arrhythmia and stuff like that. And then there's the digestive stuff, and all the things. Okay, the headaches, the pineal gland, the eyes. But it was smooth. It was smooth. And now all of a sudden it's hitting me hard again. It's hitting me hard. And so what that makes me feel like, and this goes along with the feeling that we're in a completely different vibrational frequency as a whole. It's like I feel it in the air. I feel it in the clouds. I feel it in the trees. I feel it. My daughter and I went to Walmart today, and she's like, why does Walmart feel spiritual? I forget how she said it, but like, doesn't it feel elevated in here? It's like it's everywhere. Like it's just everywhere. And so that's what I'm feeling from this, in combination with being hit really hard again, like through the heart center with these energies. All of a sudden, after being like pretty chill, pretty smooth for the last year and a half, is that because we're in a new frequency, it's like we're having a whole other level of upgrade and purging going on. So it's purging us on a level that we didn't have access to before, and that was coming up in the last reading with the healing on really deep levels. So it's almost like everything that is that needs to go is going. But it's like the feeling of like we've already done the work, we've already kind of done the consciousness healing, we've done the awareness, we've done the this and that, but this is the stuff that's like lodged in our cells, like lodged in our bones, lodged in our akashic memory that we don't have access to, that we don't remember. And it's like it's coming up. There's a whole other level and layer that's coming up, but there's also a whole other level and layer that's coming in, that's pushing it up and out. So being a really, really profound, deep time of like huge expansion and huge clearing. So anyway, okay, that's my spiel. I'm gonna jump into the cards and see how they guide me. What else comes through in relation to the cards? How long was my spiel? 5 minutes. All right, let's see. So what else? What's the overall energy for this? Yeah, exactly. Frog spirit, clear out the clutter. So that's it. It's like that deep, it's like a power wash, because the energy I was feeling from the 333 is also this like forward movement, but it kind of came through for me like the energy of 8 of Wands, which is like this the fire hose, the power wash. It's just like, and it's just like coming in and like just getting out all this stuff. And again, it might come out like I was talking about in that last reading, and sort of like erupting ways, or ways where you're like, oh my God, I'm not comfortable with this, like what is happening, and it's like it's just this. It's just clearing out the clutter. It's a cleanse. It's a clearing, but it's on a really deep level. So all the stuff we thought we were done with, all the stuff that we didn't want to ever revisit, or, and even like stuff that we might not remember. Again, it might be Akashic stuff. I mean, usually we would have a repeat of it in this lifetime, but it can go back that far, of course, if we are having purges and things, or feeling really sad, or feeling really emotional or melancholy, or whatever it is, it's like we might not even know why, but it's like just to know that there is this huge power wash. 28, 8 and 2 is 10. That's a completion number of completion, number of full circle and brand new beginning. So again, that 0 point field of being like at the same time as we're clearing, there's more coming in, and it's like there's just both. It's like it's both, and it's intense. For me, I feel it as incredibly intense. Yeah, and just trusting. So let's see what the cards want to say around that. Okay. So, okay. So here's the full card. So that's, again, that 0 point field. It's a 0 card. It's like full surrender, full trust. There's that 333, full trust in the perfection of this. You're exactly where you need to be. You can completely surrender. That card keeps coming up. The 9 of air. Okay, so that's the anxiety card. That's anxiety and fear. Like, yeah, this energy can kick up a lot of anxiety, because it's touching places in us that, one, we might not be aware of are there. We didn't even know. We don't even know what they're connected to, or they're connected to things that we've buried, we've pushed down really far. And we might actually be seeing things in other people as well. We might be picking up on those energies in people around us, where it's like we can be aware of what's repressed or hidden in them, even when they're not. And that can be unnerving and bring up anxiety too, because you're like, why am I seeing this in this person? And like, am I even safe? Because what is this? And it's like everybody's kind of clearing this. And as we're getting more sensitive, it's all swirling around in the energetic field, swirling around. But what's also swirling around in the energetic field is all these higher codes, so it's both. So it's kind of like tuning that station, or we can, sometimes we tune the station to look at what's purging, so we can help purge it, or we can help others purge it if we feel guided to do that. And sometimes we're flipping the station and we're tuning into what's coming, and it's like they're both like this, the arms. It's like both, we need both wings. We need both wings to do this. We need to go in both directions so that we can soar through this. It comes out with the 7 of Wands. So the 7 of Wands is kind of like, I read this card as our original selves. It's our unique expression, our unique spark, our unique version of the God consciousness, the God that we all are, our unique coding, and so being at the top of that mountain, like, just shining your strange light, however it is, or what other people you might have thought it was weird, or other people thought it was weird, but it's your contribution. And so that's just that reminder that this is what it's all about. It's about a huge cleanse and a huge activation to bring you into surrendering, again, the full, just like steps forward into life, like a child. It's the universe's favorite child, and we can do anything it wants. It does anything that it wants because it's in alignment with its true nature, and everything just kind of flows and unfolds. And there's that water element again, like it just trusts. It knows that who it is, and its imprint, and desires and its expression and its natural way of being, as it clears the trauma, as it clears out that stuff. It's just coming more and more into its own unique, perfectly orchestrated for the world as part of. Before, a couple of readings ago, I was talking about the geometry, like the geometry of each person and how it perfectly matches the geometry of other people and the geometry of the whole, so that it's like gears of a clock where we're all playing our perfect part. But we've been so conditioned, and we've been so, conditioned into lack and limitation and wrong and fear and anxiety, and we block our true energetic signature. Okay, so all this solar activity, which is really, really cosmic activity coming in from the photon belt that we're in, that we're receiving information from, all of that coming in, swirling around to help us clear those programs, clear those deep cellular programs of lack and wrong and limitation and should and unsafety, those survival instincts. It's like in these higher frequencies, it's a different set of rules. It's a different directive where all we have to do is be in alignment with ourselves and our own God code and walk on the earth as our desires lead us, as our soul leads us, and to play our part in that geometry, in that flower of life, or however you want to think of it. That all fits together, and it fits together when we're in alignment. Okay, so everything being a part of that, a part of clearing, but being a deep cellular clearing right now, a deep cellular clearing, and therefore a deep upgrade. Because if it starts to clear on that deep level, it's like we have room in places that we didn't have room before. We were, it's like we were working out on this level, and then this level, and then this level, and now it's like it's in the body. It's like the body's turn. The body goes last. The body goes last. But what does the body represent? The body represents the physical realm. The body is here. The body houses our spirit on the earth. So, when it comes into the body, that's when we start seeing our manifestations. That's when we start seeing, and are they manifestations, or are they just what was always meant to happen at a certain point in humanity's evolution? And that point being now, where the frequencies are high enough, swirling around high enough, where we're being purged on that level. We've done enough work that we can get to that deep, deep level where our bodies can start to expand. Our light bodies can start to activate more and more and more, where we can hold and anchor those higher codes, transmit them through our unique energetic signature, our unique geometry that we are discovering beyond the program, beyond what's constantly swirling around telling us that we're wrong, or that we're crazy, or we're going to be unsafe, or we better not rock the boat, or we better people aren't going to like us, or we're going to whatever it is, whatever those programs are, they're being released, like it or not, and they're either being released through the emotional body, through the mental body, through the astral realm, or through our physical body. But it's like they're being released in every component of our bodies, our energetic bodies. They all link up. So whatever level we're doing it on, it all links up and just keeps getting deeper and deeper. But it is where, even if you're working on it through the emotional or the mental or the astral, it's affecting. It's still about clearing out the cellular memories. It's not even memories, it's programs. And it's like, I heard somebody say this morning, and I loved this. It resonated with me so much. It was Aluna Ash, who I've listened to for years and years. She's been in my hologram for a long time, but she was talking about how these programs they've already been deactivated. And I loved that. That makes so much sense to me, because it's not like we're doing the psychic work to at this point in the game. A lot of us have already done that work to unravel, to awaken our consciousness, expand our consciousness, and unravel the thought processes around it. We've gone through the trials, we've made our choices, we've declared our sovereignty, we've claimed it, we've chosen it, and it's just those programs are deactivated in us, but they're still lodged in there. And so that's what I feel, these energies. And I'm kind of using this card to represent a lot of different things, but these higher energies swirling around us in our field, interacting with our auric field and interacting with our Merkaba, our light body, are coming in and working on that deep cellular level. So again, when we clear out on that level, then we're able to integrate and receive also on a level that we've never been able to receive for. So that's where it's like, wow, game changer, And I think enough people have released enough of those deactivated programs from their cellular structure, from their bones, from wherever it's lodged in their organs, solar energies. It's like the heart, like I'm having again the heart palpitations and the heart stuff. It's like the blocks around the heart, the blocks around not good enough, whatever it is, it's like they're being cleared out. Okay, so let me move on. That was a lot for 4 cards. But, all right, so we get the 5 of Cups again. This came up in a recent reading. So, again, there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of, just a lot of emotion. You can kind of feel like you're drowning. And so this is a card of regret, grief, sadness, longing. It's not always longing, but that's what's coming up now. It's like I woke up the other day and I could tell, what was it? It was Sunday, I think. Like my daughter and I were both like, wow, something's really shifted. Like I could tell because we were sleeping in different houses, and I could tell that something had shifted for her, and I knew that I had felt the shift. I knew we both felt it, and so we got to, when we came together, we were both like, yeah, it's completely different. Something's completely shifted. But what's interesting for me is, while it's in kind of that same thing where it's like the higher energies are swirling around, and so is the lower, and you got to do both at the same time. I had this real deep sadness isn't the right way to say it, but subtle sadness isn't. I had this real deep, subtle sadness. It was, I don't know, it was just sadness, right? But it wasn't connected to anything, it was just, I just had the sadness. And I kind of felt like it was almost like a sadness of, like leaving the old world, like really leaving everything behind. And it doesn't make sense in a linear way, because it's like, well, I'm not sad about that. Like, this is what I've been working for years, So I'm not sad about it, but yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, I just had this subtle sadness. It was a taint of sadness, but yet it had a deep core, So it was like a deep taint of sadness. Anyway, so I think it's just that, like, it's again, clearing out, and maybe that's just part of it too, like a lifelong, because I was I was sort of always, I was real ecstatic, and I was really happy, and I had a lot of like creative ecstatic energy, but I was also very melancholy. Like I didn't feel, like I missed home, I missed somewhere, I missed something. I always had this strain of melancholy, and it's like now, like with that feeling of like, why does Walmart even feel spiritual? It's like, I feel like the energetic frequency that we're in is finally matching like who I am, who I came in with. And so it's almost like I'm saying goodbye to the sadness. It's like, I don't have to carry that like longing for home anymore, because I've come home to myself. I'm coming home to myself more and more and more. And I think more and more people are, where it's like, oh my God, I get to be on this planet and feel at home, because I'm with me now, and the vibrational frequency of the planet is matching me, and more people are matching me, and me being just, the remembrance that some of us had when we came in, that connection that we never lost. And yet for some reason I think I'm like kind of grieving the sadness. I don't know, I can't quite make sense of that. Maybe other people are feeling the same thing, and maybe somebody else will help me understand that, but something to that, there's some kind of sadness. Aside from just sadness leaving, right? A sadness, something that we're clearing. Okay, so 8 of Cups. Okay, so this is, in this deck, this card is like walking away from, the old world, where it's like, hey, look, you get this little bowl, and you get this little bowl of fire, and like, isn't that wonderful? Look, you get fire, and you're like, okay, I have fire, and I have to make sure I don't tip this bowl, or the fire doesn't get out, and I better just take care of this fire. But then, here it's like, you're like, yeah, but actually I realized that if I just turned around, I have the sun. I have like, endless fire that I never have to worry about like losing or tipping out, because it's just my infinite source, and I'm going to go to that. So I'm actually leaving this. I'm leaving this. I'm saying goodbye to this. I'm walking away from this. And there I'm feeling a little bit of that sadness again. It's like, but that cup was kind of nice, and it's like I had that fire, and I knew that fire, and I knew the people associated to that cup and that fire, and now I'm going in this whole other direction, and I'm not just like going and then coming back and going and then coming back, and then like, just taking a taking a break. How many times can I say it? Going and coming back. In between, it's like I'm really walking away from it. I'm fully walking away. I'm fully walking into these higher frequencies that are all around me, that are just like, hey, it's time. It's time. It's time. I've built up myself. You've built up yourself. Now let's just come together and live in unison with all together. And yet, there is a grief. There is a goodbye. There is a change. It's a change. It's a big change. It's a big change. And this card in one of the other decks that I have, the Frog Spirit, it is kind of about an emotional cleanse too, and allowing yourself to cry and letting the waters kind of cleanse you. So there's that water theme again. So okay, I'm going to do one more tarot, and then I'm going to go into the oracle decks that fell on the floor. Hold on. Okay. So we get the High Priestess. So there she is. So there's that like higher timeline, that higher frequency. That's what we're stepping into. We're stepping into our visionary, like what, okay, because what often comes up with this card is like you've seen something. You came in connected. You came in with this God spark, and even though, swirling around you was like, oh no, you can't do that, and you need to learn how to like say please and thank you or whatever it is, all the conditioning to make sure you fit into society and you get your degrees and you do all these things. But it's like you've held this vision. You've had this vision of this life like this. That's what you've held on to. You've had that thread your entire life because you came here for these times, and it's like now is the time where it's time to step into that. So that goes along with this, where it's like, yeah, it's just time. The energies, look at these energies, they're swirling all around. It's like it's starting to meet. It's again this, the time, the both, the together, the even, the balance. We're walking across this bridge. And we're walking into these new energies, and really potent, like really really potent timing right now. It's like the very very beginning of this, the very beginning of the exodus out of the old. It's like we've been working on it for a long time. We've been doing all the all the pieces, all the trials, all the things we had to do to dismantle, all the things we had to do to kind of stay connected to this vision and not fall down into this. And it's like this is just really a time of exodus, I feel, is the word that's coming to me, where a lot of people are just fully merging with these energies. And it is a goodbye, and it is there is a little bit of grief with that, even though we're perfectly held. We're perfectly held, and again, that 3-3, like you're exactly where you need to be. But it's like the caterpillar soup. It's like the liquid before the butterfly, where everything just kind of dissolves. It just kind of dissolves, and it's intense. It can be really intense. I don't know if you're feeling that, but that's definitely part of what's going on in the energies right now. Opening up more and more and more. And so some people are stepping into this now and feeling it now. Some of it will step into it later in their perfectly divine times. And it's like we all, again, the cogs of the wheel, the wheels of the clock, it's like we're all playing our different parts. Some people are going first, other people are holding steady, to anchor, because it's like, there has to be a frequency of anchoring and grounding, deep grounding in the collective energies, or else like if we all went at once, it's like it wouldn't work. It's like we're all playing our role, all of those parts that we're playing, the cogs of the wheel together, helping to keep things stable, helping to keep it grounded enough, but also loosened enough, enough people walking away to kind of like go first, kind of walk across that bridge, enough people doing a lot of the emotional clearing, to kind of clear out the etheric field, like doing that work to clear in the astral, so that others can find this light and this other option, as well. It's like we're all playing our perfect role. Okay, so and just commenting on a time when there really is a frequency shift right now, and a lot of people are jumping, which is going to continue to shift the frequency. Every time somebody jumps or walks out or steps away or fully anchors into this higher energy, it becomes more dominant. Becomes more dominant. It's easier for people to walk over, but the literal fabric is changing, which means our emotions are changing, our minds are changing, the way we relate to ourselves and others are changing, the way we relate to our old habits and things that used to feel okay to us that no longer are. It's all about stepping into this higher frequency, which is becoming more and more prevalent on the planet. And eventually, for people that are really stubborn, I don't know if that's the right word, because it's all, again, it's all gears of the clock. But I think some people do have kind of signed up to be kind of stubborn and to kind of hang back in the older energies again, to kind of anchor. They kind of like have chosen to go last. But it's also written in that, because everybody's going at some point, but for those people that are choosing to kind of like hang back to help anchor and to help keep things steady, let's say, that's kind of what makes sense to me. It's like you can kind of like because you've chosen that role, you can feel, other people can feel that you're stuck, or you can feel that you're stuck. And so part of also the perfect plan and the perfect cogs of the wheel is that at a certain point it's going to get really painful for you. And when it gets really painful and you literally just, some people will leave the planet. And that's part of their soul contract, or the part that they're playing as well. But it's like it gets to this point where it's so uncomfortable that you have to jump. You have to. It's what catalyzes you. It's what catalyzes you to walk into the sun, to walk into these higher frequencies. So that's something. If you are somebody that's holding the denser energy in place, when it starts to feel really, really, really uncomfortable, it's like it's time to expand. And that's true for all of us too. It's like as we cross through thresholds, we all have stubbornness, and we all have fear, and we all have, we're like, no, I'm fine with this bowl. It's fine. That's all I need, and then it's like, but it's like, no, actually I'm dying here. I need more. And, it's like that crunch where you're back and forth between two worlds, and you're back and forth. And finally you're like, I can't do this back and forth anymore. I either need to, like, I can't go back to here. I know I can't do that because that's going backwards and that feels like hell, but I'm scared to go over here, but it feels horrible to keep going back and forth. And so then it's like, then you just go. That's when when you're on that threshold of like misery and anxiety and like crunching. It's like, well, your seed's about to crack. And we all go through that individually as part of like our individual cycle of releasing from the lower realms, from the lower programs. But then in the gestalt of like the gears of the clock, the symphony that we're all playing together, then there are certain people that are because that's the thing. It's like our the cyclical nature of awakening for each individual human being is also reflected on a large scale. So as we pass through these certain stages within ourselves, the symphony of humanity also passes through those certain stages. So it's like cycles within cycles. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it does. So okay, I'm gonna do the Goddess of the Moon Oracle, discernment. Okay, so this is really interesting. So this, and it's another 10 cards, so there's completion. This came up for me in a personal reading the other day, and the way the card came through for me was based on this sort of like vision that I had. So it's like, that's just the way that I see this card now. So I feel to describe it like that again. So I was going through a lot of releasing of like deep cellular things that were coming up, and I was dancing because that's how I release a lot of energy, and I also get kind of like connected in that way as well. And so I was dancing and I was seeing this like orb in front of me, and so there was an orb in front of me, but in the vision it was like the orb, but then there were like 3 or 4 different sets of hands that were going around the orb. And so I was doing that as well on my physical body around the orb. But what I was doing is I was gathering all of the fragmented parts that that needed to sorry, I just got distracted because my daughter was there and that light's on, and I was excited for the light to be, anyway, it doesn't matter. So I was gathering all of these parts that were that I was bringing back into wholeness. It's like I was bringing myself back into wholeness. And then right at the end of the song, it was just this really cosmic song, which matches here, this cosmic energy. And here's all like the sort of like, like cellular imprint, like stuff in the mind and in the cells and the, like where you're just like going through these levels. And I just like lifted this ball up and it just like went up and it went up and it was released and it was released. And so, and that's like this rainbow bit right here. That's where I was saying this card just like so perfectly captures that energy of like bringing everything back into wholeness, bringing it back into wholeness and then releasing it, releasing it where you go into that next level, where you go through that cloud, you go through that density, you go through the lack and the limitation, and you transmute all that energy into something higher. You transmute it into higher. So this represents the higher energies to me, and that being the point that we're at, this completion, the completion of the separation, the completion of the lower energies where we start to live from these higher frequencies. So let's see, I didn't do this deck. I'm going to do this deck. The Hierophant. Okay, so that's really interesting. So the Hierophant, here he is. He's like, like the blueprint. Here's again all the geometry. Everything that the soul has written in. Like here's your unique version of all that is. He's like, this is like your soul saying like, hey, remember you're this actually. You're actually this. So let me remind you. Let me download you with this information because you've cleared enough. You're anchoring in these higher energies where you can receive this. You can receive this information so that you can remember your soul blueprint and what you're here to do. You're evolving, you're stretching, you're unifying outside of the distractions and the programming that have kept you confused and kept swirling you around. You're releasing them now, and you're coming into this access, this higher access through these higher frequencies to know more about your soul and why you're here and what you're doing. You're having glimpses, the High Priestess and the Hierophant. That's the higher octave pair, the masculine and the feminine, the unification, but on the highest level where you have that imbalance. Again, you have the balance of the polarities, you have the balance of all, so you have that God code where you can start to receive more from your soul, getting information from your dreams, getting information from visions, having, walking around and feeling all of the world, as a reflection of you and as a reflection of your soul, and bringing you in the pieces and the information that you need to reconnect with this and to live from this. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to pull a few. Where am I at? 31 minutes. Okay, I'm going to pull a few oracle cards, a few more oracle cards here. All right, so we get 2 from the Angels of Atlantis. Grace. Okay, there it is again. So being moved from one level of frequency is what I wanted to say. And yes, that's accurate. One level of frequency into another. We're moving out of one vibrational frequency into another, where new things are possible, where we're able to receive much, much more, because we're clearing on such a deep cellular embedded level of stuff that's just clogging up space. Like, it's not active anymore. Like I was saying, that Aluna was saying, that really resonates with me. It's not active anymore. We've dismantled it. We've done enough work to dismantle them, but now we're clearing them out. We're clearing them out so that we have more room. These energies bringing in way more from our soul, way more from our soul. So it's like, as much as that crunches and that disorientation, there's also this flooding in. And I almost feel like there's this, again, like the caterpillar soup, the liquidization, where you can't quite track it. But as we start to stabilize in these energies, we're going to realize that we have so much more of ourselves, of our psychic channel, of our empathy, of our intuition, of our ability to read others, and like I was saying before, just being able to kind of feel into, and then we feel into things in other people that they might not be aware of. So then it comes out with gratitude, and that's exactly kind of what the direction I was going into. Even though it can be really hard and kind of uncomfortable, and kicking up some sadness and kicking up some grief and kicking up some confusion and just like so much water, that because this can be, the Eight of Cups can also be a card of kind of like drowning in emotions, where like there's so much going on so many different levels that you just kind of lose track of like which way is up or down. but just trusting, again, that surrender, that trusting in the process and in the perfection of it. Like the liquid of the caterpillar turns into the, I was reading about it recently actually, and I had never heard of this, these imaginal discs. The imaginal discs, have you heard of this? And I know it's like a science thing, but I also like the word of it, imaginal discs. It's like, again, that like high priestess, and like I was talking about, that vision where we always saw that thread into where we were going, you know, and like even here, it's like you gather it all up and you bring it into one, and it goes into this higher frequencies, because some part of us always knew that this is where we're going, that this is where we're going, these imaginal discs. And so the caterpillar had those in him all along. Like I was reading that some caterpillars, you can actually see the manifestation of the caterpillar, or of the butterfly in the caterpillar. Those imaginal discs are visible in the caterpillar. They hold the codes for the transformation of the butterfly. We hold those codes too in us. We have those imaginal discs. But I love the word imaginal, because that's the visionary aspect where we're bridging. We're bridging into what is happening now. We're bridging into this energy right here. We're bridging into the frequency above the mayhem. You know, we have the power within us to bring it all in, and to release it until it transmutes and transforms into that which we've been bridging through. So just like the caterpillar has the codes to become a butterfly, so do we. And just like the caterpillar, you can see it in their physical. It's like we have access, that visionary access to where we're going. That's our imaginal codes. It is our imagination, that liminal space where we are in touch with that. Again, we're in touch with this, you know, we have that coding within us. And just clearing out that space on the deep cellular level allows, I mean, it's our DNA really, 12 strand, right? We're using 2 strands, and a lot of us have activated more at this point. You know, we've activated more. We have that light body going, you know, we have access to it. But, you know, this purge that's going on right now, this cleanse in the body, allows even more. So it's exciting, you know, even if it's really, really intense. So the point being to have gratitude for it, because it's taking us where we've always wanted to go, where again, you know, we came in knowing, we came in with those codes. That it just wasn't time yet. We had to go through the earth trek. We had to go through, you know, the spiral. We had to, you know, get further into so moving into the photon belt, you know, towards the end of 1990, you know, so that's, you know, 30, 34 years. It's like, you know, we've been building, we've been receiving codes. We're receiving a lot now. The solar activity, we're in the solar maximum, you know, it's coming in pretty nonstop. It's like we're ready to be downloaded. You know, we've taken small steps. We're acclimating to the energy. We've acclimated. We've figured it out. We figured out to turn towards the sun, and it's like now we're making a move. Humanity is making a move, and it's starting with I don't even want to say a few. It's not even a few anymore. It's a big chunk. It's a big move. And the other thing that I'm noticing is that it seems like more and more people, as more and more people awaken, are becoming more and more sensitive. Because I used to be on the forums, the solar forums, 2 years ago, and there were a lot of us that were like, oh my God, what's going on? You know, what's going on? And we were helping each other understand, and we were comparing notes. And now I'm seeing it again, but I'm seeing a whole new wave of people that are like, oh my God, what's going on? You know, do I need to go to the emergency room? Like, what's happening? You know, and it's like a new wave of people starting to be activated. And so it's like, again, that like new wave, you know, that new wave, which also makes me feel like, because I'm having sensitivity again in a way that I haven't in a really long time, it's like a whole new level, a whole new codex, a whole new thing coming in, you know, a deeper level, a deeper purge, you know, for those of us that have been on this journey for a while, we're getting down to that cellular level. And for those people that are just starting on it, it's kicking them into gear, where all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, look what I saw. Like, hey, everybody turn around, look over here, you know, look over here. It's like it's just more and more people wherever you're at. It's like this wave that's coming in, we could call it, is taking us all to another level, a next level, whatever that next level is for us. Of course, I speak from where I'm at, you know, and for the collective that's not, I'm not just speaking for the collective that's on that, because I do try to bring in and incorporate, you know, where everybody else is at as well, and also just to be like, hey, this is what's going on, you know, here's an edge, here's a certain edge of what's going on, but you know, but acknowledging that really we're all up leveling from where we're at. So okay, I'm going to do the secret language of light. Yeah, I keep falling on the floor. Okay, hold on. What do we get? I think it's color. I think it's color. Yeah, it's weird. I keep getting this card, color, and it's interesting because to me, what this communicates, it almost kind of, and every time I get it, the last couple times I've gotten it's come up with like the card gratitude or like abundance or blossoming or something like that. So for me, color again is like it's earth plane. It's earth plane. It's like vibrancy. It's abundance. It's richness. It's fleshed out. It's beauty. It's like it's the earth. So again, I'm feeling this thing towards like the and even this, like, look at all that abundance, like look at all that fruit, like that's the earth, that's our physical bodies, that's us coming in down onto the earth, bringing these codes, bringing that vision, bringing it forward into life fearlessly, knowing that our codes and our energetic signature and just following our own desires and our own path is how we build heaven on earth. So for me, this combination of cards is like what's the number here? 44. Okay, so like grounding it down, stability, stable on the earth, stabilizing, bringing it down. So I feel like with this new influx of energy, it is, like I was saying before, it is coming out into the physical through our bodies, clearing on a real physical level, allowing more in. But as we allow more in, we're moving forward again, walking on the earth, walking towards that sun, but walking on the earth towards that sun. So bringing these codes down through being on the earth, a real so for a lot of us, we had a time when our spiritual centers, our psychic centers opened and activated, and we were like, for some people, connecting through the dream space, or connecting with like dragons, or your past lives, or your soulmates, or your in the astral, just a lot of like access in that realm. And that was really important, and that's part of how we got this coding and how we connected to this vision. But it's like now it's time to walk it down, to get back on here, because again, that balance of like, just like we need the dark and the light, and the left brain and the right brain, we need the spirit and the earth. We need to be in balance so that we can really bring forward. We're on the earth for a reason. We're on the earth for a reason, and maybe it was absolutely very dense here before, before the energies really went into that higher frequency. It was hard to be here, and like I know for myself, I spent a lot of time just out, disassociated and out of my body, because I didn't want to be here. I wanted to stay connected to this, and it was for me on my path, it was wonderful for me to be able to do that, because I did stay connected. I never lost it. I never got conditioned here, but I was also like pretty handicapped and pretty like non-functional, and I got into all these crazy situations because I didn't understand, the earth plane. I was imbalanced. But it's like, can't really get away from that anymore. You can't really get away with being like totally earthbound. It's like, again, it's going to get to that point where it starts to hurt really badly, where you do kind of have to turn around and be like, oh right, there's this whole other thing, like I need to expand and grow. But if you're way out in that astral place, it's like that's going to be painful too. Like that's when you can start, at this point in these energies, go into sort of like psychosis, or getting lost, or just, like not, it's just the balance, right? The balance, and bring it down and walking it. It's time to walk it, because it's possible now, the frequencies. So, okay, there's one deck I did not pull from the goddess deck, so we're going to end on that. I'm at 42 minutes. I guess these are just longer now. We get 2 cards. Yeah, new beginnings and generosity. Okay, so new beginnings. There we are. We're in a new frontier. It's unknown. Again, no matter where you're at in your journey, we're all in a new space. Like it's new. We might not know where we are. Okay. Generosity for me kind of goes along with gratitude. It's like, again, this is a good thing. Like, look at her. She's really happy. It's like there's the higher energies, and there's another 4 card. So we get the color 4 and 4. And 4 is, for me, especially 44 or 444 is an angel number for me. I always see that card or that number whenever I'm going through something that kind of scares me and I'm not sure if I'm safe. I see 4s. And it's so predictable now that like I just know if I'm nervous that I'm going to see 4s, and it's always my higher self, or however you want to think of it, letting me know like you're right on track, and you're safe. And this is about ascension and expansion. And so again, that message of like, this is the gratitude the vibrancy, the expansion, like it's all positive. The generosity of these higher frequencies. So again, we're clearing out. It can be pretty intense, but that we're also being flooded. We're being flooded with assistance. We're being flooded with higher codes that connect us, to our soul blueprint, and to help us with our earth trek and weaving our codes down onto the earth as our souls intended, as we have written in for ourselves. It's like a huge shifting time in landing the higher frequencies, the higher purpose, our mission, our true alignment, our true divinity onto the planet at this time. So I love that we ended with that, and I just love it. Look at her. Like, she's just love, that self-love. It's like, I get to be me. I finally get to be me, because these energies are supporting us. They're down. Look at those lemons. Look at those lemons. It's like the abundance, the like, we thought they were lemon. We thought they were lemons. We thought we had a sour life, but look what it is now. It's like coded. It's geometry. It's perfection. It's the perfection of our journeys. And when we surrender up the discord and we gather it all into one thing and see the perfection in it, we see the generosity and the love that it has all been, and we surrender it up into that higher frequency of where we're going. We realize that's our homecoming. We realize that this is the time we've been waiting for. So if it is feeling really overwhelming, and again, the feeling like disintegrated or like liquid or just like melting, just having this be a reminder of what it's all about, and again, that linking up with what we've always felt, and knowing that's what this time is. It's taking us closer and deeper into this. No matter where we're at on the journey, it's like this is the outcome, and it's what we're here for. So okay, thank you for listening. I hope that all made sense. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Video.